Some time ago, in the past week or two, there was a Nintendo Direct specifically focusing on Donkey Kong Bonanza. In that Direct, we learned we learned a lot of stuff, but one detail that I wanna focus on today. Kid Pauline is going to be in Donkey Kong Bonanza, or Smalling, if you will. So if you pay attention to like leak news and stuff, you would know that this isn't really news. When the original, not the original, when the switch to official direct in April happened, Nintendo of Korea accidentally posted the box art for Donkey Kong Bonanza, but instead of Odd Rock being on the cover, it was this little child version of Pauline, his little tiny little baby. And people were like, okay, this is weird. How exactly does this work? Because she completely replaced Odd Rock in that specific art. And so we kind of knew Pauline was going to be in this game in some form or another as a kid. We just didn't exactly know how. And with this direct, we see that Smalling is Odd Rock. This is like a little prison. We assume, because it seems like Void Code captured her and then put her into this rock. But that's not what I want to focus on. What I want to focus on is how the Donkey Kong lore is in shambles right now. The Donkey Kong and Mario lore. Because if you'll remember, the original Donkey Kong arcade game had three main characters. The titular Donkey Kong, who was the antagonist, Jumpman Mario as the protagonist, and Pauline as the damsel in distress. Now, you might thinking, okay, how does throw everything into whack? There is a complex Donkey Kong family tree that was established in, I believe, in the 90s with Donkey Kong Country. So, the Donkey Kong that we've been following since Donkey Kong Country is actually Donkey Kong the Third. The original Donkey Kong grew old and became Cranky Kong, and Donkey Kong Jr., hit Cranky's son, modern DK's father, is unaccounted for. Now, some people like to make the claim that Jr. is this modern Donkey Kong, but until a game specifically calls him Jr. or makes specific reference to it, I believe that he is Donkey Kong the Third, and DK64 does not count because that is an exception, not the rule. Every other game has referred to modern Donkey Kong as Cranky's grandson, and I don't want to hear nothing about the movie either because that one's clearly its own thing. So anyways, Cranky Kong is also in this game as, Cranky Kong, this old little non-muscly, short, hunched monkey, and he's alongside Rambi. So, if Pauline is appearing in this game as a kid, what's going on? Because Cranky is, he's old. This is years after he originally kidnapped Pauline. So why is it that she's a kid now? All sorts of shenanigans like this aren't really new to the Mario universe. We have time travel, we have adult versions kart racing against their baby versions. Hell, if you even go back even earlier, the Super Mario Bros. Super Show had an episode where Peach turns into a baby. Princess Toadstool turns into a baby, and the Mario brothers kind of have to care for her until they can figure out the Fountain of Youth. But yeah. So most people are just kind of wondering what's going on. A lot of people I've seen are like, oh yeah, Nintendo's just retconning the lore, so to speak. Not that there's anything ever been super official, but they're retconning it. And to that I say, that's bullshit. Because as we'd seen from the Nintendo Switch 2 gameplay demos things that they were holding in April, there is a video that came out of Donkey talking to Cranky, and Cranky specifically mentions how rivals back in his day had like more spunk or something, and I quote, he said, even in overalls, once again referring to Mario as his rival in the arcade game. So again, what gives? What's going on? It is possible that they do retcon something, whether it be that they go back and say, oh yeah, Jumpman in the game, in the arcade game, was actually Mario's father or something like that. Since, it kind of never really made a lot of sense that Cranky grew super old while Mario didn't. But, monkeys age faster than humans, so if he said that it was his father, like I think it just game theory that, well, there's a game theory video on it, but I don't know who first came up with it. But yeah, they could be like retconning some stuff, or it could just be some magical kid turning or adult turning to kid shit. That personally, I think that's what it is. We'll have to wait and see until we get the game ourselves in our hands to see whether or not it is a retcon or just like magic stuff. Because for one, Pauline doesn't seem to recognize Donkey Kong, right? She'd probably recognize the tie if she was turned into a kid, but it could also just be some amnesia stuff. Because she says it's her dream to sing, but in Odyssey she is a singer. Which leads me to something else I did not mention. This game is most likely a prequel to Super Mario Odyssey. There are some points in the direct where you can see what looks to be New Donk City, or at least the skybox background in the background of one of the shots. I don't remember exactly what they was doing. I think it was like toppling a tower or something, but yeah, you can see in the background there's a very similar looking city to Odyssey's New Donk City's background, or like the part that you can explore, all the stuff in the distance. And I think for sure it's gonna be before Odyssey. We'll probably see how New Donk was founded or kind of renovated, and we'll see Pauline become a singer. But again, is she, is this actually her age at this current moment? Are they retconning it so that the Donkey Kong III is the original Donkey Kong, which would make Junior modern DK's son? Which I want to cover that too. If they're retconning it so Cranky was always just this mean old dude, and modern Donkey Kong is the original Donkey Kong, that means that Donkey sold Junior to some circus or something and replaced him with Diddy. It's kind of fucked up if you think about it. But yeah, Bonanza comes out in July, middle of July, and my copy is already pre-ordered. Depending on my work schedule, I will be streaming it day one as soon as I can. But I hardly stream, so we'll see. But final thoughts. What do I think is going on in Donkey Kong Bonanza? I think that for somehow, in some way, Pauline was turned into a kid. She may or may not have amnesia, which is why she doesn't recognize this specific Donkey Kong. But we'll have to wait and see until she interacts with Cranky, because that will 100% tell us what is going on in this game. I don't really know how to end videos, so I think there's a like button down there. You can hit that. There's a subscribe button, I think, like right next to it or below it. Yeah, you could hit that as well. I think if you hit it, there's like a bell that pops up. That's a... You should just hit that too, see what it does. And then there's also like a comment section, you can comment on how I'm wrong, or if you're Captain Nixon, you can comment how you hate Nintendo and you think that they should go bankrupt as a company. But yeah, bye.